All right, so let's take some time and go through the syllabus. The syllabus is sort of our contract with you where we lay out policies and procedures, but also important things like how points are awarded and key dates like when grades will be submitted or you have to withdraw by or all that good stuff. So let's just go through and look. Download, it should come as a PDF format. As I said, this is asynchronous, so ignore this line right here. This was just auto-filled by the computer. It really wasn't meant for online semesters. But yeah, so just ignore that. Like I said, we're having these asynchronous modules that we work through. So yes, so first of all, welcome, obviously. Excited to start off the semester, albeit a weird one. Here is my email address. You can also feel free to email me through Canvas. Makes it easy. This is my office phone. We're not in the office, so that's not going to do you much good. Email is definitely the best way. Office hours are going to be held through Zoom, and that will be Thursday from 11 to 2, and then Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. I have a specific page in this module dedicated to office hours with that Zoom link. So I'll make another mention of that in a future video. So this is the course description. To be honest, because we don't really have any organic chemistry knowledge yet, all these words are going to sound completely foreign to us. So it's a nice thing to actually look through at the end of the semester, but right now it might kind of just sound like a foreign language. But this is what our goal is to accomplish during this semester content-wise, and then broken into specific goals. I'll let you read through that, but again, I think it would actually be more useful to go back through towards the end of the semester to see what it is the ACS, for example, expects you to know. Our required textbook. So first of all, if you were in my course last semester, I sincerely apologize, but there has been a change of textbook. I was not the original instructor, Miss Cherry was, and then we switched sort of at the last minute. And that was after she had made this textbook decision. I'm cool with it. It's a good textbook, but I know that means that you're sort of pressured to repurchase, and that sucks. So I'm really sorry about that. Kind of nothing that I could do. This is, I got to make all new lectures and all that stuff too. So it's a little bit more work having changed books for me. But it is a good book. It's fine. We'll do well. I will say, content-wise, just about every organic chemistry textbook has the same content in it. The big difference is going to be the organization, and there certainly are some organizational differences. But unlike last semester, we're not going to be doing exercises or graded exercises directly from the book. So potentially, as long as you have that online homework system, you're going to be fine content-wise with your old textbook. Optional materials, preparation guides for the ACS. This is a particularly good book. I think maybe it'd be like more interesting winter break reading, something that after you've already had a little bit of experience with organic chemistry, this can sort of fine tune some of those concepts. And then a model kit. A lot of what we do structure-wise is incredibly difficult to understand on a 2D paper or screen. Having this 3D model kit to hold and to spin around is actually incredibly useful. I didn't believe it myself when I was a student in organic chemistry, and then I got my butt absolutely kicked by stereochemistry, got myself a model kit, started playing around, and it all made perfect sense. So I do strongly recommend the model kit. They're pretty cool. Plus, then you get to have all these cool little chemistry figurines lying around your room. Okay, so attendance policy. So online, asynchronous, what does that mean in terms of attendance? So I still am required, per my contract, to take attendance every week. And so that will be done based on your participation on Canvas, and specifically in these weekly question forums. So I was talking about these question forums where you'll be required to answer or ask a certain amount of questions a week about the lecture content. Your participation there is how I will record whether you're present or absent for a particular week, okay? Drop policy. So first of all, this is just the policy, is if you miss the first day of class or miss 2 consecutive weeks during the first 9 weeks, you may be dropped. We're going to be, so first of all, there's no first day of class logic anymore. It's an asynchronous class. Yeah, nobody should count on me dropping them. If somebody sort of drops off and I notice that they haven't been interacting whatsoever, before the census deadline, you may get dropped, but really do not depend on me to drop you from this class, okay? Of course, if you are enrolled in the class after that deadline, I have to give you a letter grade. That's the rule. Those deadlines, those dates are listed here. I'll let you guys look that over. Participation and engagement, this is something that's going to be so weird this semester because we're all online. And so basically how that's been done, it has to be done through Canvas. And so how that's going to be done is through a series of assignments, quizzes, and discussions. You saw that. I'll show you point-wise what that all equates to here in a second. Here is this calendar of my planned approach through the lecture. I'll actually have a video dedicated to looking over this in a little bit more detail. So suffice it to say, you guys can look it over and see how it goes. We're going about a chapter a week. That's the pace. Okay, so let's look at these assignments sort of point-wise. So your weekly question forum is going to be worth 2.5 points every week, okay? After each lecture video, you have either a quiz, an assignment, or a discussion that's meant to practice the material that was in that lecture video. Combined, all of those combined, you'll have one per lecture video, will equate to a total of 5 points per week, okay? All I'm looking for is your participation in this. Although I will say with the quiz, you will get whatever grade you get on the quiz, you'll just have an infinite number of attempts. Okay, but again, all of those combined are going to be 5 points in a given week. And then we'll have weekly challenge problems where we'll break into small groups and be given sort of a more difficult problem that will require some collaboration. And that will also be 2.5 points per week. So that's a total of 10 sort of participation points in a given week. Your online homework. Your Wiley Plus online homework, I'll show you in a separate video exactly how to go in and create an account and what that's going to look like. Those will be worth 10 points per chapter. There's an assignment each chapter. Your exams are worth 100 points. So on a 100-point exam, if you check out the schedule above, it's typically about 3 chapters per exam. There will be 5 exams throughout the semester. Okay, and then finally is this ACS final exam. As of right now, we are scheduled to have in-person final exams, the ACS exam. No clue if that's going to actually continue, but we'll see. Certainly, if you have any sort of disability, you want to go through the DSPS office, and they'll be in contact to me, and we can work through what accommodations are important. Certainly, please let me know if this is the case if you have not already. Okay, grading scale is pretty straightforward. The one thing I want to point out is that I'll be rounding to the ones place. Okay. So for makeup, I'll sort of explain this. Well, right now, I guess. Okay, so first of all, exams. Exams are going to be given at selected dates and times. So unlike the rest of the lecture course, which is asynchronous, meaning self-paced, you can do it whenever you want, the exam is actually going to be at a set date and time. You can see that in the schedule above. Actually, there's this dedicated page in this intro module that has the schedule. That's sort of what you really want to look to. But yeah, so those are, you can put them in your calendar right now. You should, okay? That is when the dates are for the exams. The reason is that we're going to be doing them over Zoom. I'm going to be proctoring you via webcam. So we have to do it at a scheduled time. I got to know when everybody's going to do it. If for whatever reason you can't make that date and time, you have a week to let me know. So you have to let me know at least a week prior to that exam date. And then I will make an accommodation for you. Certainly anybody that has like childcare issues. I don't want you trying to take an exam when you're supposed to be paying attention to a child. That's just going to be incredibly distracting. So yeah, so I'm more than happy to work around people's schedules, but again, it just has to be established before the fact because I'm going to be the ones proctoring it over Zoom. Now let's say that something crazy happens and you wind up in the hospital or some other serious situation that's going to prevent you from taking an exam. Well, in that case, then you are simply excused from the exam, which means that the points of that exam do not count for or against you. It won't be considered at all in your final grade if you have one of these really serious, college accepted excuses for missing the exam, okay? Late work. So with regard to those weekly assignments, those you're not going to be able to do late. That's just going to be closed once the due date's done. If you know you're not going to be able to make it for whatever reason, I mean, you have a week to do it, but nonetheless, if you know for whatever reason you're not going to be able to make it, I can make them available to you earlier. But yes, they can't be turned in late. Those are just 10 points a week. It's one of those things where as long as you're on top of it, it'll benefit you. If you're checked out, it's going to end up bearing you, okay? The online homework I will accept late. It's going to be 10% maybe a day. And then no late work after 3 weeks. Nonetheless, I really encourage you to try to do any sort of late homework because it's better to be late and get partial credit in my gradebook than to have a 0, okay? Extra credit, you will actually see I do offer some extra credit through the Wiley Plus homework system. But yeah, I mean, basically if I feel like it, I'll offer it. So the one thing about, class norms that I want to say is that this is a really difficult class. And the fact that we're online, I think maybe people might be tempted to be like, ooh, free, get out of jail free card here. It's not really going to work like that. It's still going to be all of the same information, and you're going to have more of a responsibility of staying on top of things than you otherwise would, okay? So it's something that you really just want to take seriously and make sure you're dedicated to it. There's exercise you're going to do at the end of this module where you're going to actually figure out how many hours a week to dedicate and where in the week you can find that time. So it's just something that you have to think about. Academic dishonesty policy. So, I mean, y'all are old enough to know what cheating is at this point. Let me just say that being online might make it very tempting. In my mind, there's a very clear line where you go into cheating, and that is if your work is on somebody else's computer or if you have somebody else's work on your computer. People aren't allowed to give you their lab reports. That's cheating, okay? You should never have work created by anybody else on your machine and likewise, okay? So this is something that I hope everybody is, take your education seriously enough, take enough pride in your education to want to do well and want to learn this stuff. This isn't about getting an A with the least amount of effort. Plagiarism, yeah, all that good stuff. So anyway, these are helpful websites that you might need at some point throughout the semester. Great services offered by the college. And then finally, your final exam times. Again, we're assuming that we're going to have this in-person ACS exam, but stay tuned because that might not happen, okay? So yes, that's the syllabus. Give it a closer look over. And yeah, I guess the schedule's next.